Okay, trying one last time. We've been having some issues with this video, but hopefully the Facebook gods will shine upon us and we will be able to get this done. Let me see if I can tag Megan here. Nope, it's not going to let me. Let's see. She'll pop up here in a second. She should be coming. Here we go. Let's see. This is going to work. It's working, I think, maybe. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can
Okay.
you hear me?
Yeah. That's happened to me before. And I don't
That's
know
so
what it
weird.
is. It's weird. I'm happy to see you. And I'm
I'm
glad we
happy to
got
see you
this
too.
figured out.
I know.
Thanks for
Oh
joining
my
me.
goodness.
I'm really
Of course, thank you for
excited.
having me.
So just for everybody who's watching, and this is going to get shared to the Hoffman Tutoring Group Facebook page as well, because the Facebook gods don't like me so much to let me do this on the actual page. Um, Today, I'm talking to Meg Flanagan. We're going to talk everything about IEPs, 504s, and advocacy. And Meg owns Meg Flanagan Education, which is a advocacy and education, all kinds of different things company. Meg, would you mind kind of telling us about what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I help. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm getting that weird feedback again.
Oh, weird.
I know. So anyway, so I am an education advocate. Do you hear it?
Uh-uh.
Oh, you know what? I wonder if it's I don't know what's happening. Anyway,
Is it going to work?
yeah, it's just really trippy
Oh,
to
that
hear
is
like a
weird.
second
Yeah.
voice. Okay, so I'm Meg Flanagan. I run Meg Flanagan Education Advocacy. I am a teacher, a special education teacher, and I help families understand schools beyond tutoring. So when tutoring has not worked and your child is just not getting it, and you still have academic concerns, but you don't understand the lingo quite so much, I'm the person you want to call.
I love what you do because a lot of
Thanks.
that is, I mean, kids, even if they're getting great quality academic help
Mm-hmm.
within the classroom and without and outside of the classroom, they still need more. Um, just quality education is not going to be enough for getting them everything that they need and making them feel comfortable in the classroom. So, what kind of led you to become a special education advocate?
So what I actually started out as I started out as a tutor and like 10 years ago in California. And I loved it. But as I continued down that road, I found that more and more and more of my clients were actually asking me to write evaluations for their IEPs, write those outside letters, take a look at their
Mm-hmm.
IEPs, talk to the teacher, figure out where everything kind of met in the middle. And that wasn't really what a tutor does. And so I took about a break, had a couple kids, went back to the classroom, dipped my toes back in, refreshed my memory of special education law, and then jumped back out and said, you know what, there's a need for this. There's a need for help for families where tutoring is not the answer. And tutoring is the answer for many
Right.
families. It works for many families, but for a large group of families, it just doesn't work. It's not that the child isn't capable of learning, it's that the education program doesn't fit their child and school doesn't fit their child. And so no amount of tutoring is maybe going to fix that problem. It's all about building that relationship with schools and teachers and administrators and parents to help the child. We call it team child.
Yeah, I love that. And especially the team aspect because education
Mm-hmm.
has to be a team sport.
Oh, 100%.
Not one specific person is going to be able to provide everything that kids need. And you're right, tutoring isn't always the answer. For a
Yeah.
lot of kids, it's not the answer. And so I love that you're talking about, getting that team together
Mm-hmm.
and being that outside person. Because when you're the person in the ring, that you're the parent, it can be really tricky to know what you need to do.
Yes.
I read
And
one of your blogs recently about how you're kind of getting into that realm as a parent. Has that brought
mhm.
a lot of insight to you as well?
It's It's definitely been different. So my concerns with my kiddos are a little bit different. So I have more of the social emotional concerns. Our schools in Japan prepared us so incredibly well for kindergarten and preschool. We're really, really, really lucky that they had incredible schools, but they've also been in a little school for, hey, Tracy, um, they've only been in a little tiny private school with maybe 10 or 12 kids in their class and the same teacher. They're seeing the same friends. And now suddenly my 5-year-old is in a school with like 1,000 kids. And she switches. She has a morning teacher and an afternoon teacher. So she switches in the middle of the day and she's navigating socials, specials and socialization at recess, where all of that was really heavily proctored and monitored in Okinawa. Now it's just kind of a, how do you advocate for yourself at when you're 5 and you're a little bit shy? So
Wow.
that's kind of where I'm learning how, where the rubber meets the road for me, learning how to step in and advocate for my child socially, which is what I've been doing for families for years now academically.
Right. And
Yeah.
so because you don't only deal with people when they're going into their IEP and 504 meetings, right? Sometimes you teach parents how to kind of navigate those types of situations and like the education, there's lingo there and like all kinds of
Hmm.
different stuff.
Yeah. So actually, I just launched a brand new service, which is actually a really great opportunity. I just launched a Pick My Brain service. So
Oh, that's
literally,
great.
you have an hour and a half with me, 30 minutes of like face-to-face time, and then an hour of research time of you tell me your problem. I will spend an hour working to solve it for you. And then we'll talk about it for 30 minutes. But that's
Wow.
a really great opportunity for parents who are maybe having some questions about parent-teacher conference or wondering if, excuse me, Audrey, no, thank you. Um, Wondering if, they need to push harder for an IEP or a 504 plan, or whether I should refer them to you,
Mm-hmm.
um, or, what the right route is. This is a great opportunity for parents to just kind of sit down with me. Let's talk about it, teacher to parent, parent to parent, and see if we can figure out what it is that your child needs right now. Answer your questions, dive into the lingo. What is this teacher talking about? Super quick and dirty.
Yeah, that's
And
amazing.
yeah,
I'm
I'm really
so
excited.
glad that you're offering that.
It's really great. Yeah.
Because sometimes you go into that meeting and
Mm-hmm.
it's so overwhelming,
Oh my gosh, it is.
and then you don't know where to go from there. And you're like, it's going to take me a million years to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
So having someone with your background who can zero in on like these are the 3 things we need to look into,
Mm-hmm.
and that's amazing. I can't
Make a
wait to
plan.
refer people to that
I know.
service
I'm
because that's great.
so excited. And I'm only offering a few slots to start. So if you know people who want it or you want it and you're watching, you can head over to megflanagan.com, education advocacy, and I'll drop the link
Yeah.
and you can share it out if you want to or don't. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm only offering a limited number of slots in October for this. So if you want one, they're going to go really quickly.
We'll make sure that that
Yeah.
gets on this and then also on the Hoffman Tutoring Group page.
Yes.
And we'll share it everywhere because that's amazing.
Yeah.
And so, okay, but if people aren't having a one-off kind of, we want to talk to you
Hmm.
for 1 hour, um, a lot of people come to you for help with IEPs and 504s and special education services. So
Yes.
I was wondering
Yeah.
if you could kind of break down and do like a quick and dirty, what's an IEP versus a 504, and when would a
Okay.
kid need one, both, one or both of those?
Okay. So generally 504 plans are actually built into IEPs. They are both federally mandated programs, meaning no matter where you are located in the United States or attending a DoDEA school overseas, as long as it is a publicly funded place, so charter schools, public schools, DoDEA schools, they are legally obligated to follow IEPs and 504 plans. IEPs that fall under one law called the IDEA law, IDEA. And the 504 falls actually under Section 504 of the ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act. So it is heavily linked into the military community because the ADA was literally written for military veterans. So they're both the same. 504s, You hear less about them, but they're actually really common. So you can get a 504 plan for anything. So legally, I should have a 504 plan because I have life-threatening allergies. So they can be for anything that significantly alters a major life function: attention, anxiety, mental health, vision, hearing, mobility, you name it. You can get a 504 plan for it, as long as there is a clear paper trail of diagnoses, documentation of the condition, disability, diagnosis, whatever the case may be. This is accommodations only, meaning your child is still going to be expected to learn at grade level using the same exact materials, same exact standards, same exact everything as their same age peers. So if your child is in fourth grade, they will still be doing fourth grade math. They will still be expected to meet all of those benchmarks. The great part about 504 plans and really IEPs is that 504 kind of doesn't go away when you graduate high school. IEP you do age out of when you graduate high school, but you can transfer, and working with your college, you can transfer your accommodations in some form or another to college.
Oh, that's
So things like
great.
extended time on tests, large print books, a separate quiet testing environment, extended time on assignments. All of those things are reasonable accommodations for people with disabilities at the collegiate level. So that is something that you have to write a new plan. It's not the same exact like 504 plan that comes with you, but you can advocate, your child, I should say, can advocate for themselves to get these disabilities. And if they roll up with a 504 plan or an IEP in hand, they're a step ahead of the game. So the difference between a 504 and an IEP is that IEPs change what a child is learning. So an IEP, a 504 plan changes the environment around them, we like to say. An IEP changes what and how. So this could mean that your child might be age-wise in fourth grade, but they're really at more of a first grade level in math. So that's the math they're going to be doing, but the math standards are still going to be fourth grade. They're just changed a little bit. So maybe it's working with money in fourth grade, and your child's classmates are working with large amounts of money, but maybe your child is working on sorting coins. It's still money, it still meets the standard, but it's at their level, if that makes sense.
And there's usually goals attached to that, right?
There are very clear and specific goals. The big thing about IEP goals is that they need to be SMART. They need to be specific, measurable, attainable, and timely. Realistic is the R, but measurable and realistic and attainable are kind of the same. They just say it twice, so you're extra aware.
Yeah.
Yeah, their goals. IEPs are more heavily legislated and more legal than 504 plans. They have a little bit more teeth to them than a 504 plan. However, both are legal documents, and the schools, public schools, are required to follow them no matter what. They can't change them.
Right. And so
IEPs, yeah.
you often suggest that parents keep really good records, right?
Yes.
Because this is a legal matter as well as an education matter. What is your favorite way to keep track of all of this, the whole paper
The
trail?
whole thing. So I actually really like to have digital records because it makes it really easy to email to people. So for all of my clients, I set up a private, secure Google Drive that I share just with that one client. And then if they have other people that they would like to share bits and pieces of, then they're welcome to add them. But then I organize inside of that file if I'm working with your child on an ongoing basis by school year, by type of document. So it might be like school year 1920, IEP, diagnostic paperwork, teacher communication, work samples, all of these things. Most of us have printer scanners or can at least take a picture on our phone of documents. Just having them in a digital place where you can like whip them up on your phone or email them out really quickly is essential. But also keep that paper file too, because we all know that technology is super fallible. And yeah, so having a paper file that you keep in your most secure location in your house, organized by year, and then within that year, again, by type, and inside of that type, Audrey, no thank you, that is too loud. If you would like to do that, you may go downstairs. Within that type chronologically.
Yeah.
That way you can go right back to January 2018, pull out that one work sample and say, no, this is what you need to look at. It makes it insanely easy. You should also be keeping a cache of all teacher communication for the whole entire year.
That's
And
a
if,
lot.
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Um, but it's kind of essential because my mantra is if it's not in writing, it never happened. And if you're not able to pull up that document, um, and pull it up and say, no, look, on this email on this day, you said that X, Y, and Z was going to be happening for my child, then they're not legally obligated to follow that. If it's not in writing, it never happened. And that's kind of where a lot of parents come to see me because they've been made a lot of promises by the school district, by a teacher, by an administrator, by a school liaison officer, by EFMP, and they walk in the classroom and they're not getting any of those things. It gets very frustrating for them. Well, you said you were going to do this, but did they write it?
Right.
No. That's where we negotiate. That's where I come in and make sure that every single thing that the school ever says becomes a written document, becomes a paper trail, becomes a something that we can hold on to and bring to court if necessary. Although I can't take you to court, you'd have to hire a lawyer because I'm not one.
Right. But you can help somebody be prepared in the case that they would have to,
Yes.
and hopefully they wouldn't. But
Yes.
a lot of
Yeah.
people have to go to court, which is really unfortunate.
It is.
But it hopefully it would be a little bit less painful.
It would be a lot less painful financially if you hired someone like me to do all of the mediation, the document collection, the data collection in advance of hiring a lawyer. Wonderful, sweetheart. Um, it would be a lot easier because then you're only paying them for the time when they're actually lawyering for you and not doing all of the legwork.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I interviewed Kristen Smith a couple of weeks ago, um,
Yeah.
and
Great.
she was talking about even when she runs into people at school, or gets on the phone with them, she immediately emails them, "Hey,
Yes.
this is what we talked about. Looking forward to talking to you again."
Yep.
That way that it's in writing, and that way she can kind of call that back up, um,
Yep.
if need be, which I thought was brilliant. So.
Yeah, that might have been a trick I taught her a few years ago.
That it sounded like you. So
Yeah,
it's a
that's a
brilliant
neat trick.
idea. Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people use that for like work related things,
hmm
but a lot of that transfers to your kids' education. The same
Yes.
things you would do in the office is kind of what you have to do in this situation too.
Yeah, it's a professional environment and this is a high stakes game. It's your child's future that you're gambling with. And it really pays to invest the money, invest the time, and do your due diligence, especially in maintaining records and communication logs, and talking to the teacher and creating a good relationship.
Yeah, yeah, and I love the keeping records. When people come and use our services, and our tutors, we always tell them we want to see everything you have.
Yes.
So if you're looking at bringing on an education advocate or a tutor or, even a counselor or a therapist, they're going to want to see all of this stuff. And the more stuff you have, the
Yes.
better the services are going to be from the get go,
hmm
instead of having to kind of pull out that information.
hmm Exactly. I'm sorry. We have
Yeah.
little feet.
I see little feet.
I'm going to ask you one more time to stop and then you're going to have a consequence. Thank you.
So what is one thing that you want people to know, um, when it comes to their kids' education? Like, if you could come up with one thing, I know that's kind of
One
hard,
thing. Okay.
that you want people to kind of come away with, or that you want them to know as they're starting to navigate their kids' education.
So my big thing is always you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. And I know it's an old-fashioned saying. It's been around for a while and everyone's probably heard it. But as a parent, you get more from your child, from anyone. Think about yourself and your own work. You get more when you are kind and polite and professional and give a little bit of grace. So whenever you're addressing a tough situation at school, whether it's with a teacher, an admin, or another parent, come in with grace, take a deep breath, write your angry email on paper, crumple it up, throw it away. Write a polite professional email that clearly states your problem without assigning blame. You're not playing the blame game. You're just saying, this is a concern for me. You're going to make your ask and you're going to say something kind. I appreciate that. Get down now. It's consequence time, my dear. Parenting is so much fun. So say something kind, be polite, be professional, say thank you. And remember that your child's teacher has gone to school for years in order to do this job, but that they are also very human. Humans make mistakes. Humans have emotions. Humans get angry. Humans get upset. Remember that you are human. They are human. Your child is human. Everyone is fallible. And to just come in with a little bit of grace and a little bit of thanks and a little bit of no blame.
I love
That's
that.
it.
I love that.
Catch more flies with honey.
You do. And
You do.
I like that you've pointed out, you can be direct. You can say exactly what you mean without being nasty and without being overly nice.
Yes.
You can, I mean, you don't have to I don't know, cover it over. You can just say what you mean, be direct, but don't be nasty.
Yeah. And this is something that parents, I personally have a lot of trouble with. So I always write like one email, let it sit for a couple hours and then come back at it, or have my husband read it, or have a friend read it, like email something out and be like, I need you to tell me if I sound terrible in this. But since I know school lingo, so I decided to write a book about it called Talk to the Teacher. You can also get it on my website, but it literally gives you scripts and emails. Like, if you are in situation A, you need to say this. If you are in situation C, please say this. And you just literally just plug your child's name in and hit send.
So perfect.
It's kind of great. I've used it more than once myself.
Amazing, because that takes out the brain power that you have to use rewriting and rewriting that email over and over again. And you, Meg, know what the teacher would like to hear on the teacher's end as well. So they have that on their side.
Yes. And I actually, some of the scripts give you back what the teacher might say. So then you can tailor your response to what you like. So if you say X, the teacher's going to say option 1, you should come back with 1A.
So you're basically doing what I do in my brain when I'm thinking about things I'm going to talk to people about, but in a way that's going to come off really nicely.
Yeah, it's like a movie script, but for your parent-teacher meetings.
That's fantastic.
Isn't that funny?
And I think
I love it.
People should get on it and buy the book now, because parent-teacher conferences are either happening currently or they're about to happen shortly. Or maybe you went to the parent-teacher conference and didn't like the way that it went, and you're thinking about what you're going to do going forward.
Yes.
And it can save you a lot of heartache, I think.
It will.
Yeah.
Yes. I have had more than one parent-teacher conference that did not go very well on my end as the teacher or their end as the parent. And I learned very quickly that the only way that you both can say exactly what you mean and say it politely is to...
Oh. I can't hear you for some reason. I don't know if other people can hear you. I don't know what happened. Oh, I see your talk to the teacher. Strange. Here, let me. That's really weird. We may have to cut it short. I don't know what happened. Can you hear me?
Okay.
That was
Um,
strange.
Noelle, I have set up an option where my social media times out after a certain amount of time, and it hit that time period, and then and it locks my screen.
Oh, I need that in my life, probably.
It really
Um,
helps, kind of, but not in situations like this where you're like, but I needed this for
right,
now.
I'm working. Um, we were talking
Yeah.
about your book. So yes, I think people
Yes.
should get that. The links in here. I'm going to make sure
Yep.
the links go over to Hoffman Tutoring Group,
Yep.
and that we share them out again next week, so that people can get themselves sorted during
Yeah.
this. Really, I think this is one of the most tense times in
Oh my gosh.
education world. Is October.
It really
Bec-
is.
because
Yeah.
everybody's like trying to figure out their life, and it's coming out,
Hmm.
grades aren't the way that you thought that they should be, and all that good stuff. And then you're also preparing for your IEP meetings and
Hmm.
all that good stuff. So, while we're talking about that, where can everybody find you online so that they can follow you and get all of your great advice?
You can find me at megflanagan.com, on Facebook at Meg Flanagan Education, on Twitter at Meg Flanagan Ed. I don't have a doctorate, it just wouldn't let me put education. And on Instagram at Meg Flanagan Education, but I'm not that active on Instagram. So probably
And
Facebook.
then you have a Facebook group as well.
Yes, I am. I do have a Facebook group. It's linked right on my Facebook page. It's free to join. I post tips and tricks throughout there. And then for military families or families who are maybe moving next summer between school years in the spring, I run an annual PCS challenge where I post my best tips and tricks about how to make your PCS and your move more smooth for your children and transfer schools quickly and easily.
That's fantastic because that's a hard one.
It
Getting all the
is.
records transferred and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I want everyone to make sure that they go and follow Meg on all the things. I follow her on everything except for Twitter because I don't have Twitter. I haven't gotten there yet. I just can't make myself do it.
Right.
Um, but go follow her and go check out all of her awesome products. And your
Thanks.
blog has amazing resources for free,
Yes, it
which I
does.
love. And I reference myself when I'm
Oh,
trying
good.
to talk with teachers and parents and things like that about
Uh-huh.
education related topics. So thank you so much for joining
Oh
me.
my
It was a
gosh.
pleasure.
Oh my gosh. Anytime.
Yeah, and maybe
Anytime.
we can do one of these live once I get to your part of the country next
Yes.
year.
Oh,
That'd be
yes.
fun. So we can like be side by side, and
Oh my gosh.
it'd
And
be
not
good.
have to deal with tech.
Yes. And like all the feedback issues and
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. That would be great. Yay. I can't wait. I
Me
cannot wait.
neither.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm sure we'll have to have you back for another interview because there's just so much to talk
There's so
about.
much to talk about. Oh my
And
gosh.
if anybody's watching this on a replay, make sure if you have comments or questions, just leave them below, and
Mm-hmm.
me or Meg will get in here and chat it out. So
Yeah.
yeah, have a great rest of your day.
You too. Have a great
Thanks.
one.
Bye.
Bye.